This is Nick. I'm here with a good friend of mine, man, Mr. Ty Reed. And just before we get started and dive into this conversation this evening with my brother Ty, man, I just wanted to just let you know a little bit about where he's from, some of his background, so it can set a context, set some kind of landscape for kind of where this conversation is going to go. So, our friend Ty, he's originally from New Jersey. And where area? Patterson? Not Patterson.
Jersey City, baby.
Jersey City. Golly,
Yeah,
how did I forget that? It's in the name, right?
right
So,
there.
so Jersey City. He's from Jersey City, New Jersey. Ty, he's been an emergency medical technician for more than 20 years. He, from the age of 16 all the way up to age 36, he was an EMT. He was also a Army veteran, served 10 years in our Army, man, and serving our country. So definitely want to thank him for that. And man, I think this is going to be a really good conversation. I think that what we're going to dive into today and talk about is really have a conversation around two issues, and they, I feel like, connect to each other. Number one is having the conversation about PTSD. I know me, myself, as a veteran myself, I know Ty as a veteran. This conversation around PTSD is a huge conversation. It's a conversation we need to have. And we're going to talk about a little bit about PTSD, and then we're going to dive into some of the things that we've both kind of dealt with when it comes to anxiety and having to deal with that. Ty, man, I'm glad to have you on with me, man. How's everything going, bro?
Man, it's great. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir, man. Hey,
Yeah.
thanks for taking the time, bro. Thanks
No,
for sitting with me, man. I think this is going to help a lot of fellas out. When we initially talked about this, I was thinking to myself, and how I even presented it to you. One of the things that you had mentioned was that this type of conversation where we're talking about men, where we're talking about their mental health, things that they're dealing with, this is a conversation that I don't feel like a lot of us as men are having and willing to talk about. So that's why I wanted to talk about it and just get your opinion on it, get your experience on it.
yeah,
And I think that will help with other men to understand that things that we're facing or things that we're going through and things that we're dealing with, man, is just not, it's not isolated to just us. You know what I'm saying? There's other men that are going through it and
for
kind of
sure.
going through it. So let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
So Ty, you said you were an emergency medical technician since 16 years old. Like, what got you into becoming an EMT at that young?
Funny story about this, man. So at 15, 16, I started being a knucklehead, acting up in school. And it was suggested that my mom sign me out of regular high school and go to an alternative high school. Like I was just being a knucklehead. So at that alternative high school, you get a high school diploma program as well as a work program. And the work program that they had available was volunteering at a rescue squad. We manned an ambulance for the city of Plainfield, the town of Plainfield, New Jersey. It was a volunteer rescue squad through New Jersey City University. That's what it was at the time. We we manned volunteer ambulances, and we got some on the job training. Like I said, I was 16 years old, and I was just a volunteer, just a observer, a first responder, they call us. And then I loved it. I love the business. I love the job. I love the people. I love helping people. And really, man, that's really what saved my life. I was in that program. I became an EMT. I learned how to be a professional. I learned how to be able to take care of people. I learned bedside manner. I grew up in the projects, man. I was just rough. I was a pencil. I was this big. I was rough and
Yeah,
tough.
still a pencil, though.
But now I learned I was rough and tough, but I learned how to be professional. I learned bedside manner. Learned how to be a servant to people, which not to get too churchy or anything like that. That's what I found my life to be as a servant. That was the foundation of servitude to me.
Okay.
That's how I was introduced to it.
Gotcha, gotcha. That makes a lot of sense when you think about it. And I think it's a good thing too at that young of an age, because you said you were about 16 years old. Sometimes, man, and I feel like that happens a lot. I think the same thing happened to me too, man. I was younger and I was like, man, what am I gonna do?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, I was just wilding out, just acting crazy. And if I wouldn't have found the military, if I wouldn't have, I guess if the military wouldn't have found me,
right.
kind of got me into that position, that space, man. Who knows where I would have turned out. But
Right, man.
the thing that I think about, like when you mentioned that, man, at 16 years old, so you're dealing with, so all right, so you're helping with this rescue squad. So at 16 years old, are you like, and I lived in New Jersey for a little bit. I lived in like northern New Jersey, which is like the suburbs, but I stayed in like Patterson for a little while. So
Yeah,
I know that there's some different parts of Jersey where you're like,
yeah,
yeah, okay.
uh-huh.
So and Jersey City is kind of like one of those areas.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
so at 16 years old, my thing is being 16 years old, man, and you're like seeing a lot of these emergencies and a lot of these different things happen. How do you think that that kind of affected you at that young of an age?
Man, it's so funny you say that because that's one of the main things, man. At the age of, I would say at 17, I was released on my own. 16, I still needed a chaperone for most things. At 17, the training wheels came off. So you figure 17 years old, man, I can't even buy a pack of cigarettes in the store. I don't have it. I'm not old enough to vote, but I'm old enough to was on CPR. At this age, I was a triage. I was triaging people. I had to make a decision on your emergency is not as important as this person who's about to die. So I have to leave you to, hey, listen, you might die versus take care of this person versus I was left with that decision to make at 17 years old. Now, granted, it was a team effort. You always had a partner, but hey, look, these are life or death decisions I'm making. And
Right.
if you get the training and you're well trained and you do everything that you need to do, but you're still only 17 years old. You don't have a mature mind. You're mature, but you don't have that type of not wisdom yet. A- Until I was probably in my early 20s, this was like a game to me. Because I didn't have the mental capacity to see it for what it really was. This was like, man, I'm bored. I hope there's a bad accident so I can have something to do. You don't realize, to you it's a job. To you it's just so whatever. But these are like real people lives that are big. For 20 years, I was the person to show up for your worst day of your life. The worst day of your life happened 2 or 3 times a day for me. So uh,
Dang.
it's good or in the sense that I had that mentality where it's just another game. Because if not, I would be a bubbling fool right now because the emotional toll that it takes on you to respond to these type of calls. You gotta say, God protect the fools and the babies. Most
Yeah.
definitely the baby needs protected because yeah, man.
That's crazy. So now, would you say, because like a little bit of what I'm hearing you say too is that, I mean, at that for 20 years having to make that decision, and just the way that you just worded that, like for you, it was like an everyday thing. It's the everyday thing that we got to show up.
Yes.
For the person on the other side of it, it's probably like the worst day of their life, right? Because usually
Exactly.
when people get into a car accident, because you were mostly dealing with everything, like car
Everything,
accidents, anything.
everything, you name it. Car
Yeah.
accident, regular sick calls, heart attacks, strokes, and then you have the shootings, the stabbings,
Yeah, that's crazy.
you have hangings, suicides, and then 9/11. I was there not for 9/11, the World Trade Center.
Okay,
You know,
talk to me a little bit about that because
man,
I didn't even realize that. Like, because how, number one, how old were you when that happened?
I was a 20-year-old. I was a 20-year-old
Mm,
EMT. I had been in the business 4 years by this time. And it's so crazy that morning, I get a call from my mom because we live right across the river. I can literally look down the street and see what was going on. And I get a call from my mom. I was still sleeping. Hey, did you see the news? No. She said, yeah, I heard a train just crashed into the World Trade Center. I'm like, a train just crashed. Like, man, like, because we got there's trains that goes under there. So I turn the TV on. I'm like, what is she talking about? And it says, as then I see a video of the plane flying through. I'm like, oh crap! So I jump up, I throw my uniform on, I call the office, answer the phone. Hey, it's Ty. Hey, get here now and click. So it was one of those numbers.
So you when all that happened, you weren't even like you weren't thinking like because I remember when that day happened. I was in college and I was
Right.
eating some chicken. I was eating chicken, bro. I remember, bro. I was in the cafeteria in
Yeah.
college and I was eating some wings and I
Yeah.
seen all this stuff and I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
But for you, when that all that stuff happened, you were like, okay, it's time for me to get to work. Like
It's
it
go
wasn't even like
go
a
time.
thought.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Man, that's crazy.
so my assignment with on that day, my assignment was we got our ambulance. We drove down to the Jersey City waterfront, which is at the waterfront of the Hudson River. We're looking right across at the World Trade Center. We're watching it, and they were shuttling just herds of people on boats from Lower Manhattan over to Jersey City to us. And we go down there. They said I was at Second Street. Go to Second Street, and they said, "Hey, they got a boat coming over there with some injured people." We get down there. There's boats of people, not just injured people. And so we got severely injured. We got people who were just evacuated, were just covered with soot, people with nicks, small bruises, cuts. I had a firefighter with a fractured back who had to, and Henry Ford and the Ford company pretty much revolutionized factories. They got a conveyor belt. They came up with the conveyor belt and everything is just clockwork. In EMS, we have the same thing. It's a triage system. A person, we get an injured person, they get a tag, red, yellow, green, or black. Black is dead, red is severely injured, yellow is minor injuries, and green is like walking wounded or no injuries at all. We were getting those, and it's just, okay, I'm here, I'm staging, I'm taking everyone, I'm putting a tag on them, I'm sending them to their designated area, the green zone, the red zone, yellow zone, black zone. At that station, a person will be there at let's say, the red zone severely injured. They package them up, bandage them. An ambulance pull up with their stretcher. We put them on that stretcher, put them in the ambulance. You go to this hospital. The next one, same thing. You patch them up, put them in the next ambulance. You go to that hospital. And it's just like a conveyor belt. I'm going to touch you. I'm going to check you and see what type of injuries you have, red, green, yellow, black, give you that tag, you get treated for that, you go into the ambulance, you go to that hospital. So it's just amazing how that happens. So that was my day for first probably 7 or 8 hours. You've seen everything from just people just covered with dirt to severe injuries, broken bones, burns, you name it. And then after that, my partner now, we got off probably around 1 a.m. And then my partner and I, we drove our personal vehicle through the tunnel, through the Holland Tunnel, where there was armed National Guardsmen guarding the tunnel. What are you doing here? What do you want? We should show our credentials, say, hey, we're going over to the World Trade Center to help. They let us through. We got down there. We've been there. We're literally right across the river. So we've been to the World Trade Center maybe 100 times a piece. We get down there, no electricity, all electricity is out. There's this dust, just constant dust is just still falling. And we're trying to navigate our way. We parked somewhere and we had to walk the rest of the way. And we couldn't remember how to get there. It was just like a totally different place. We get there, we finally make it there. We go, hey, listen, we're here to volunteer. We're here to show up. This FDNY captain or lieutenant, I forget his rank. He said, hey, listen, you guys are search and rescue. Hand us body bags to say you're on parts recovery. Take these body bags. If you find any parts, put them in a body bag. Once it's full, you bring them back and get another one. So that was our thing. We go through this New York City Sports Club. New York City Sports Club is like a gym, a fitness gym. You walk through there. There's the windows are blown out. All the equipment is covered with this thick, filmy soot, just ash and debris. And you go in, you walk through one of the windows that's blown out, you climb a flight of stairs, there's a hole blown out of the side of the stairwell. You come out of that hole, and you're standing on top of rubble that once was a building. And this is probably, you climb up, and we're probably about 10 to 15 stories high looking down at just rubble. And they say, all right, Here's a body bag. Go find some fine body parts, and you're gonna bring it back to the staging area and get a new body bag. So that's how my day started. That's how my evening started. My early morning.
Well, my thing is, man, at 20 years old, when you have to do all that, how, like, what, and I'm sure it's probably hard to think back on it now, but at that point, are you even thinking like, are you even thinking, am I supposed to be like, you know what I mean? What's going through your mind, bro? I'm like thinking to myself, like, all right, a guy hands me a bag and he's, hey, go
Yeah.
take body parts.
You've done small mass casualties, that whole triage system. You've done it at a small level. Three car accident, you got multiple patients on a small scale, how it's supposed to be. Now you multiply that by 1,000, now it's a huge scale. Like I said, at 20, even at 20 years old, I'm still, this is adrenaline junkie. This is adrenaline rush. This is fun. This is exciting. But then you get a body bag handed to you and they say, hey, fill us up with body parts and come back. And then while you're up there, oh yeah, by the way, be careful of sinkholes because there's some holes. If it doesn't feel too sturdy, don't walk on it because you can drop down and fall into one of these sinkholes. Now I'm like, okay, yeah, this is serious.
Yeah,
This
this is
is okay.
like,
Let's
wait a
put this
second,
in
hold on a
here.
minute. Nobody told me I had to sign it.
And just some of the things you see, I was there where everybody's working diligently. I mean, you're working hard, you're digging up stuff, you're searching and calling out, and you hear a voice, somebody, we got something. Everybody runs to this one location. We're all trying to dig out. And man, I never forget this one time. So you and I both in the military, we know chain of command and why they have their people have blue shirts on it, then their commanders, their higher up have white shirts. So the white shirt will pull this one guy out. It's a white shirt. This guy is a chaplain rather. And this is a priest, more likely a priest, Catholic priest. He has the collar, the cross on his collar, and the other collar has a captain bars or battalion chief. I don't remember the ranking off the top of my head. But I never forget the white shirt with the gold insignias, and he had his helmet on. The helmet was melted to his head. His fire helmet was melted to his head, and his hands were clenched. His cheeks were, he was clenching down, and or his side, you can see it was open. His cheek was open, and you can see his teeth just clenching down, and his hands balled up like this, and part of his hand was chopped off. So it was like one was clenched, the other one was missing some fingers, and this god awful, oh no! You hear this scream like someone like, gosh, he's dead. And just the grown men, firemen, tough guy, police officers crying. That did something to me that day. It was like, man, these are big, strong, manly men crying and just that god awful, oh no.
Yeah,
That scream you heard was piercing,
yeah, yeah.
piercing.
At 20 years old, had you ever heard anybody, or have you ever seen any kind of experiences like that where you've seen like dudes that were like, yo, what in the world is going on here?
Like I said, I liken it to the car accident. It was a small scale. I've seen people die in car accidents. I've seen shootings. I've seen stabbings. I've been around dead bodies. I had CPR scenes where I saved some lives. I had some CPR when they didn't make it. So I've had some heartache. Oh man, they didn't make it. I really tried my hardest. But this was like every nightmare, every war movie you've seen, actually living through that. It was unbelievable. Just unbelievable, fast pace. You got scary to your left, you got scary to your right. It's like everywhere you look is, man, that's I'm afraid. This is sometimes I'm like, man, I'm afraid. But you had to push it down. I see the saying somewhere, bravery is not the act of it's not being afraid, but bravery is being afraid and performing anyway. And that's what it was. I'm scared to death. There's people that need my help. And there's people out here who is just as scared as I am, and they're doing it too. So I got to do my part. That's all I was telling myself. And that was how I was able to get pushed through.
Yeah. So I think you made a really good point that I think about a lot. Like a lot of times we'll hear people say, you just made that statement. You said, okay, bravery is being scared, but being able to push through.
Yeah,
At that age, when you're seeing all of this stuff happening, do they train you for to see it? Because like you said, it's on a small scale.
right.
It's okay. Yeah, I could deal with a car accident, two, three people. But when you're seeing all this stuff happen, you're like, whoa, what the heck? Ain't nobody really set me up for this at all.
Right. There's no way in the world. There's no simulation. Just like war, there's no simulation for that. There's no simulation for. I've been into countless war simulations. This is after, and when you actually go through it, like Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. All right,
Yeah,
punch in the mouth is serious, man. Like,
yeah, for
what
sure.
do I do next? You know?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Dang. So then nothing really even prepares you for that. So then after all of that happens, because I know everybody, obviously at the time, we're all dealing with the after effects of 9/11. We're looking at, dang, how could they do this?
yeah,
How did this happen in our own country? For y'all, like being boots on the ground, like we're just watching it on TV. Like I was all the way in Florida.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So yes, this is all happening, but it's not the same as what you're experiencing.
yeah.
When you walked away from that experience, like maybe not like obviously immediately after that, maybe a few weeks or months after that, did the EMT, the folks that you work with, did they have anything to say, hey, we know this just happened. We know people saw some crazy stuff. Let's like work with people, or was it just, well, we got to keep working. This is part of our job. Like, how did it go when that happened?
Man, so we have a critical incident team. So it's like we had psychiatrists, therapists, and things like counselors come to. They specialize in big group stuff like that. Stuff when stuff like that happened. Even if on a smaller level, if there was like a terrible car accident and you're dealing with it, you have voluntary things like that, and then it's non-voluntary. Everybody's required to come to this training or this meeting. And man, in this meeting, it was the most solemn, you get a bunch of sailors, soldiers, and first responders in a room together, and it's like it's a joke. This was not a joke. This was everybody quiet as a church. You can hear a pin drop in this room and just different people sharing. And I'm glad we're doing this because this reminds me of that. Being able to see someone else is feeling the way I was feeling.
Yeah.
Someone was older than me, someone more established, 20 years in the business, and they're still affected by this. Let me know that it was okay for me to feel what I was feeling. It was okay. What's people who I looked at as superheroes in that business cry. And I'm like, man, okay, it's okay to cry. It's not a weird thing. It's natural. React the way that to feel the way I'm feeling and react the way I reacted. So it was great to see that. And it was, I can't remember much of what the counselors were talking about, but the real counseling for me at the time was being around my peers who experienced it with me, who was expressing their feelings, who was the same feelings I've had and felt, and just different reactions. So that was my counseling, and it was great to me.
Gotcha. Now, do you think having that experience led you into joining the military? Like with that, because like I know, like in being in the military too, going through some hard stuff with a group of guys, and then having other guys be like, or guys or girls, whatever, having everybody in your like your squad or your little platoon going through it all the same. Do you think that's seeing some of that kind of led you to saying, okay, I want to join the military, or what was it that kind of got you on the military path after seeing something?
So September 11th, 2001 happened. I was raising my right hand and swearing into the army January 26th, 2002. So
Dang,
I
so you didn't even wait, bro. You were like gone, bro. I'm
yeah, I
gone.
was like, yo, I'm gonna do something. I was like, man, that was my hideaway. Like I used to drive down to the Jersey City waterfront and just park there in either an ambulance or my car and just stay, just watch, look at my building. This was my one of my safe places, one of my where I could just go and relax and get peace of mind. Now I remember the very next day, September 12th. I'm at one of my spots where I used to stand, and I'm watching these buildings burn. And for weeks after, you can see smoke billowing from this site from ground zero. And man, every day I was reminded of it for probably about 3 months. And the smells, the next day, the smell of burning flesh. There was I guess, a westward wind blowing towards from Manhattan into New Jersey, and you just smell burning flesh for weeks.
Damn.
And this man, that's what caused me to raise my hand and swear into the military.
At least. So really, so what I'm hearing you say is that the military, like what happened in 9/11 kind of pushed you into being like, okay, I want to go fight for my country. Like
Absolutely.
I want to do this. Gotcha. And then I would just imagine that seeing what you guys seen in 9/11,
Yeah,
you're like hyped up. You're like, nah, there's no way you can come to my country and
exactly.
just do this.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
just okay. So what'd you do when you joined when you joined the army? What'd you do when you were in the army?
So I was military police. Army military police. That's
Golly. So you went from
yeah,
EMT to military police. So
exactly.
you just wanted all the action pretty much.
Right.
Hey,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, so I
Gotcha.
joined the military police, and man, one of my first deployments was Operation Enduring Freedom in Egypt, in Sinai, Egypt. This is like on the Sinai Peninsula, and I'm in between Jordan and Africa, Egypt. So this part of Egypt is actually on Southwest Asia, and I was so in between there. But it was a great experience, man. Great experience. And this was right during the time where Egypt, Israel, and I guess the state of Palestine, the Gaza Strip, where those
Oh
that
yeah.
incident
I've
was
been to
kicking
the
off.
Gaza Strip. It's
Yeah.
hot, bro. It's hot over there,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Yeah, I went on some deployments and I've been through like Israel. I've been to Haifa. Like when they, like
Yeah.
you're walking through these towns, bro, and you're just like, bro, you can tell that they had some
Yes.
war, just
Yes.
crazy stuff. And I was
Yes.
like, man, I ain't going on no buses, going on nothing.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. So y'all were in. So when you were in the military, especially as a military police, so military police, they had you guys over there doing some, I would imagine like detainee stuff, like just a lot of hands-on, like y'all are in the mix as military police, I would
For
imagine.
sure. On my deployments, we didn't do a lot of police stuff. We did convoy security. We did protective service details, protecting different dignitaries or high-ranking military officials. So anyone colonel and above, we were their security, their heads on security. We did a little quick reaction force. Someone calls up with an emergency, we're standby, 24-hour standby, jump in a vehicle and go to where the trouble is. And we were pretty much in the mix of it in Egypt and in Iraq. I was in that conflict as well. So
Dang.
yeah, well, that was a big deal. Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. Man, all right. So now, and I'm glad you told a lot of story. I know I've heard some of it before, but just seeing the timeline is crazy to me because I'm like, okay, you go into EMT number one super early, super
Yes.
young, where
Yes.
you're experiencing like stuff that a 17, 18-year-old, normal 17,
Right.
18-year-old can't handle that. And then now you're making all these decisions that they're like, okay, you got to think fast, you got to do this. Then you
Yes.
go into the military, and in the military, you're going into the military at a time where we're heavy in the war, we're heavy sending
Two of
troops everywhere.
'em. Two
Yeah,
more.
two wars. So then you get out, and then it's because you said you did 10 years in the military, but then you get out, and I think my thing that I think about is just even listening to your story is if I were to if I were to had experienced some of that stuff early on and then go into the military, then be involved in these type of wars, I'm sure you probably saw a lot of stuff where you were just like, how the heck do I process this? Like, how do I make sense of what I'm seeing? And then on another level, and I think this is where we can segue into PTSD and stuff like that, where it's like I saw all this stuff as EMT, and then I seen all this stuff as in the army. I'm sure that after all of this, you're just like, I might be wrong. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like listening to the story and I'm like, yo, it's hard to walk out of that and be like, okay, I'm just gonna normally go back into civilization. You know what I'm saying? And then
Exactly.
I feel like it's hard. It would be hard to do that. Was that something that you struggled, like, felt or dealt with once you transition out of all of those different roles?
For sure, definitely, man. So I dealt with it and I'm still dealing with it.
When you say
Yeah.
dealt with it, what you mean? Like Pete, like as
So
far as
but as far as PTSD,
gotcha.
yeah, I tried. I'm a thinker. I'm always in my head. I'm always trying to figure out why something happens. Why I got to take things apart. I got to pick any situation, even with physical objects. I take it apart, see how it works, and try to put it back together. Sometimes success, sometimes not. So I'm with these PTSD, with these images that keep popping up, these feelings that keep popping up. I'm like, man, why is it there? So what I gather, and this is based off of some things I've heard and read and things like that. Your memory has like a filing system. You got happy memories go here, sad memories go here, anger, this one, all these different, you got different filing cabinets, right? So when you have an incident where it's just like too much, it's like, where do I file this? And I don't have a place. I don't have a place for this. So it just keep, hey, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. And it just keep replaying. And with that, the feelings that you felt during that time, like that suppressed fear that you pushed down, man, this thing is coming back. Now here I am. I'm a real estate agent. I've been out of the military since 2012. So what's that? 10 years. I've been out 10 years and I've been out of EMS for maybe 5 years or 6 years. And I still like I'm at my desk, a safe desk. I'm fine. Nobody's gonna hurt me there. The worst I'll get is a paper cut or a stuck in a staple.
Mm.
I'm sitting at my desk and I gotta tell someone, hey, we have to move your closing date from this Friday to next Friday. And now my heart is pounding. I'm fearful. I'm sweating. I'm about to have a panic attack because those feelings, that conversation that I know I'm dreading to have, is reminded me of that time I was afraid of running into a burning building, or there's an upside down car that I have to climb into to help get them out of. And my heart is beating fast and I'm nervous and I'm sweating and starting to hyperventilate. And I'm about to have a full on panic attack about having a conversation about moving a closing date that they may just say, oh, that's okay, Ty. Oh, that's cool. That could be the or it's oh man, we really gotta move it. Okay, there's nothing else we can do. But now I'm about to and it's all rooted in a fear that I suppressed years ago. It's coming back now. I'm like, I don't know how to handle it now.
Yeah, that bro, it's so crazy that you said that. I'm just being transparent here too. I'm
Yeah,
gonna so part of the one of the reasons that I stepped back from real estate was because of that. Like a lot of times, and not just real estate, but just I would find myself in these situations where there's no real threat physically, but because of things that I dealt with in my past, and like obviously, like my things that I dealt with in my past aren't the same as yours. You know what I
of
mean? Like
course, nobody's the same.
I have like trauma from childhood and just growing up and things that I've dealt with.
Yes,
You can't even move it forward. But bro, I remember being in those spots, man, where I was like, you're thinking like it's a life and death situation when it's really not a life and death situation. And it's crazy because here's what's wild about it. And this is why I feel like it's important to have these conversations is you're sitting at your desk and you're freaking
freaking out.
and you're probably not gonna tell anybody. You're not gonna say it to anybody because it's who you gonna tell? Who you gonna say, "Hey, bro, I gotta change this closing date," and they're like, "Just call them." And yeah, you're like, I remember a lot of times, bro, in transactions, I would talk to my wife and be like, "Hey, babe, I gotta do this and that," and she'd be like, "All right, just call him and tell him you gotta do it." And I'm like, "But you don't understand. Like,
You
I'm
don't
freaking out here. Like, I don't get it. I
You
don't
don't
get it.
understand.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it, man." And I feel like that's why these conversations are important because I think that a lot of times that's what PTSD would do to you. I feel like when you talked about, and I wrote this down, and I've never heard it put in that way, where we have these experiences and your mind is thinking, okay, where do I file this experience? Like, where do I put this experience? Is this something that scared me? Is it something I could learn from? Where do I put this file?
Yeah.
But with a lot of traumatic experiences, our brains can't even freaking understand like where to even
What
put it in the first place because
what did I
this ain't
just
supposed to be
see?
happening,
Your
right?
brain is like, what did I just see?
And but here's my thing that I think, and I appreciate you sharing that. But here's the thing that I think that is so important is that I can probably imagine that, and this is just from my own experience. For me, those type of experiences were happening on like a daily basis, where it was like, not it might not have been a transaction, it might have been something else.
Yeah.
It might have been, but we almost go into, and let me know what you think on how that is, but it's almost sometimes we'll go into when there's a situation that comes up, we'll go into this shell where it's like the trauma almost says like, all right, I'm gonna take over this whole situation. And before you know it, you're doing crazy, like you're acting in a way, saying things that you had no idea and you don't know where the heck they're coming from. Was this something that you felt was happening on like a day-to-day basis or more often than not with you having those responses?
So maybe about this word that I realized it big for me because I've had it. I could looking back, I've had it, excuse me, probably like right after I returned from Iraq in 2010, maybe 2011. So I got back in 2010, 2011 is when I started notice. I didn't notice it then, but I can track it back to then. My behavior, locking myself in a room. I was married with kids. My whole family's in the house. They're all downstairs. I'm locked up in a dark bedroom with all the curtains closed and just the TV there, wrapped up in a blanket by myself watching TV. The whole family, the wife and kids are downstairs having the time of their lives. And I'm wrapped up in a blanket in my bedroom, pitch black. And it's my wife at the time was like, come on out. You got food, we got come there. I'm good here. I didn't think that was wrong with it, but now looking back, that was off.
For
And then
sure.
when the pandemic started, I noticed myself getting depressed. I'm like sad. I'm like, what is going on? And then I'm anxious. Like, I kid you not, Nick. This is the weirdest feeling. You wake up, so I know I need to call these people and talk to them about this. I need to call these tenants because I do property management too. I know I need to take a shower. I need to find some clothes. I got to take my vitamins. I got a routine, but I wake up and I'm like, all right, I got to do this. All right, me text this person back. Let me send this email. Oh, I gotta find my clothes. What am I gonna wear today? I was so this is this one particular day I can't forget. I was so distraught. My brain was in so many different directions. I couldn't focus on one thing long enough to complete. I'm talking about a simple task like brush my teeth, go take your vitamins. That's the same thing I do every morning for the past 40 years. I was having a hard time doing. I was start, okay, I'm gonna wear this. Oh, wait, I gotta take my vitamins. Oh, wait, my text, gotta send a text message. I start running the shower water while I'm sending the text message. And then I put my phone down and then the water's running for 20 minutes. So I turn it off and I go back to finding my clothes and I go back, what am I gonna eat? By this time, 2 hours passed and I hadn't completed one thing. Not one thing that was complete. And I'm like, what is going on? And now I'm starting to worry. I'm panicking now because I know I got to leave the house soon. I got to do something. The whole day was wasted. I didn't leave the house. I might have taken a shower around noon. I finally took a pill, took my vitamins, but I could not focus. And then it started happening more and more. And then it started turning into, oh my gosh, I'm anxious. It's happening again. And it's what am I gonna do? And then I get sad, I get depressed because now I feel like I'm a weakling. I'm not a man. You can't even come on, you can't even get your stuff together enough to head to the office to get some work done. And now I'm like, I don't, my phone is blowing up. I don't want to talk on the phone. I'm scared every time my phone ring. Every time my phone ring, I get a feeling in the pit of my stomach. Oh gosh, what is it now? Now I don't want to be around people. My one of my best friends, Wes Coons. He's the broker of the firm I work for. and he tells you about the drunken monkey that sits on your shoulder.
Fucking
Yeah,
yeah,
remember that?
yeah, for sure,
Monkey.
for sure, for sure.
He start telling you stuff like, man, why you know when you want to reach out and call someone, it's man, why are you bothering them with your mess? Man, just deal with it. And you don't deal with it. And it's you get deeper into it. Then you think, man, I should probably should call someone. I should why don't answer your phone. You don't you was just gonna be somebody else with some more mess. So now it's hard for me to make money now because I need to be on my phone. I need to be in front of people. I need to that's what real estate is communicating with people and getting in front of them. Hey, listen, you have a real estate need. I am your real estate solution. I'm not doing that. So now I'm not making money. Now my bills are starting to pile up. Now I'm depressed. And it's a cycle. It's a cycle of, oh my gosh, I'm nervous and I'm not making money. And now get depressed because I'm not making money, which turns into anxiety because I'm not making money, which turns into depression. And it's just I'm like up here, down here, up and down. It's just I can't shake this cycle. I don't know what to do to get out of this freaking whirlwind of highs and lows. And that's where
That's
I am right now, where I gotta find a way. And then I'll have some times the lucidity where I'm like, okay, I'm with it. Let me go dodge. Let me go run and make some money right now before it happens again.
right, right,
Let me go sell some houses. Let me go get this right.
right,
You know?
right.
And then have a sale, have a closing. I'm like, okay, I'm doing good. And then it's like that drunken monkey starts talking to me again. And I'm like, man, my heart's fluttering. I think I'm gonna have a panic attack over something that's nothing.
Yeah,
Why am I worried about it? I imagine this. Imagine your youngest child. When your child was young, you're walking through Walmart and you get that, you look down and your kid's not there. That feeling you get, where's the kid? Where's the kid? Where's the kid? And that panic you feel. Why am I feeling panic like that about what I'm gonna have for dinner tonight? It's my heart is fluttering. I'm like, ugh, you feel everything your body's supposed to do in that fight or flight mode is there. And all you think about is what are you gonna eat for lunch? You think about, man, did I call that person back? Why am I thinking about a conversation I had 10 years ago and getting that fluttered feeling in my chest and getting worked up about it again? Like it already happened. It's already over with. Why are you thinking about it and having these reactions? And those are questions I can't answer for myself right now. And
yeah. That
yeah,
man, but you know what? Number one, I appreciate you sharing that
yeah.
just because, like you and I, we worked together, and now looking at it now, I'm like, okay. I remember when like I was there and I was like, yo, let's get on the phones. Let's get on the phones. Let's get on the phones. And I'm all like going like all crazy. And you're
I'm
like,
sitting
yeah, I'll be
calendar.
there. I'm like, you're like, yeah, I'll be there. And I'm like, all right, what time is that? Where's that? Right here. I think number one, I think it's good for everyone to hear that because here's the thing is everything that you just explained just now is it's almost and it's so crazy bro it's almost like you were just like explaining like the whole blueprint of kind of what I've dealt with and felt sometimes. You know what I mean? There's times where I find myself in spots, in moments where I'm getting nervous, I'm getting anxious, I'm getting hyped up about something that's not really a threat. But because of what we've experienced and what we've gone through, man, we take everything now and we interpret it as a threat. Now, my question with that, like, I know we're talking about PTSD, but I kind of heard you like talking. I know part of when you're dealing with PTSD is that anxiety that happens around it. When you look back and look over these years, because one of the things that I think too, even that is a good thing, is that you're at least aware of it. You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
aware of, okay, this is happening. Something is happening inside of me that's causing me to behave a certain way that's hurting me more than it's helping me. And I feel like when you look at with men, a lot of times, especially with men, because you brought up some really good points. You're talking about, okay, boom, I have these anxieties. It causes me to pull back from making money, making these calls. And then now I'm not making money. Then that causes anxiety, which then causes. So it becomes this like cycle that a lot of men are going through. And we're just churning. We're just like trying to figure out, okay, like I want to make this money. I want to do what I need to do for my family, But I get in these spots where something in me like just takes over me, and I can't move. It's like I can't progress forward. And number one, I think what is important is the fact that a lot of men deal with that. I think that's huge, is that a lot of guys really deal with that issue of, man, okay, I had stuff that happened in my past. It locks me up. I know I want to make money. It's not the fact that I don't want to provide. It's not the fact that I don't want to be successful. It has nothing to do with that. It has the fact that I had some crap happen to me in the past that now it catches up with me and it locks me up. And I think one of my things, even with even having this conversation, is that a lot of men get locked up and they think, okay, something's wrong with me. Nah, bro, because everything you were just explaining to me was like, I was like, damn, this guy is like reading, like he's writing the same story that I've been dealing with. Like, I'm like, wait a second, hold on, man. This sounds really familiar for some
Right.
reason. But my thing is, it's so important for us to recognize what is really happening there, man. Like, what is really going on in those moments. And so I feel like my next thing in question, and like I said, I appreciate you sharing that because I think that helps a lot of people understand, yo, it's not just me going through that. So I know you mentioned that, okay, you find yourself in those different spots. How did you, I guess the thing that I think about, and this is the thing that I struggled with a lot last year when I went through a lot of my own mental challenges. Cause like I said, like I before last year, I would always think I'm mentally tough, nothing can bother me, like whatever, man, I'll just push through it. Like those same things that you talked about and feelings that you had, I'd have those same feelings, but I'd be like, all right, screw it. I'm just gonna keep on going and then blah blah blah. Until last year where my body was like, okay, like you think
Yeah.
you can keep going.
Right.
I'm about to
Right.
shut you down real quick
Uh-huh.
and show you
Uh-huh.
that I'm in control.
Yeah.
How have you learned? No, number one, since you've learned how to be aware of it, how have you began to start maybe learning how to manage that? Or is that something that you're still trying to figure out? Like, how do I manage that? And how do I deal with those emotions and those feelings that want to lock me up when I know I have the potential to do a lot of things? You know what I'm saying? Can you talk on what you've tried to do to help that?
For sure. So you said, I just wanted to say this too. So when you talking about that, man, yet that drunken monkey start talking, and I laid out my pretty much my whole resume, and I've always been a hard worker. But that drunken monkey told me, man, you're just being lazy. Get up and do something. And it's man, I'm lazy, and it's just it's just beating me up. And I say this, there was a stretch earlier this year for about 23, 25 days, man. I was on my recliner. I slept there. I ate every meal there. Maybe I might have to go to Walmart, might have to go to the store. 20, probably about a solid 25 days of me just in the house, just going from emotion to emotion, from up to down. And I wasn't leaving the house. I work. What's work? Even like I was getting leads for work and I just wasn't calling them back. I wasn't reaching out. And it was just totally enveloped. I was just totally engulfed with this reclusive to the extent I wasn't really talking on the phone. I wasn't leaving the house and nobody knew. So one day I decided I called my aunt. And my aunt, my mom's sister, she lives pretty much maybe less than a mile from me. And I called her. I said, hey, can I come over and talk to you for a minute? Said, yeah. I went and talked to her and my uncle, her husband, for about 6 hours. 6 hours of just unfiltered, unadulterated, listen to me. And they had no idea what was going on. I felt a million times better. And I'm like, man, that's the cure right there. I just need to talk about it. And then some time passed and I had another situation come up. And I'm like, starting to see the familiar signs again. I'm panicky, I'm down, I'm depressed. And I know, man, if I just go to talk to them, I'll be okay. Why you need to go talk to them? Why are you bothering me?
That drunken monkey, bro.
It's here. Why can't you do this on your own? Yeah, you're just being lazy. You're just being a punk. Yo, get up and do something. And it's just beating me up. You would think those are words of motivation. Nah, as you might as well have been a bat, just taking, beating me down. And I was right back in it until I finally said something to somebody and started get it out. And to me, I think that's the key. Letting it be known how you're feeling and what you're going through, just to talk about, just to release it. And that helps me out a little bit. And it gives me enough space to at least go out and do something to help myself a little bit, to help my situation. But like I said, man, that self talk, that down talk, that you just want to recluse and be by yourself and don't be bothered, feeling like a punk, feeling weak, feeling less than. How did you become this? All of those things I hear to myself, and this can't be it. This can't be the same person.
Dang, that's crazy, bro. I think that's huge right there because I think first off, what I would say is I'm proud of you for going to find somebody to even talk to
Yeah,
because a lot of times I think that's what I learned last year. Like when I was going through it, bro, and I had never experienced like my whole life, bro. My whole life, I was like mentally tough. I was like,
yeah,
yeah, whatever. But in all reality, on the inside, bro, I was like a wreck,
right.
anxiety
Right.
wise and stuff.
Yes.
But on the outside, I was like, well, whatever. We'll just keep going.
Yep.
Last year, man, when I was going through it, man, and I was just like, bro, I was in a low spot, suicidal. I was like, yo, I
Mm.
can't do this no more. And I've had moments like that before in my life where like I was like thinking, okay, I don't want to be here no more. I don't want
Yeah.
to do that. But not to the extent that I had it last year.
Mm.
Last year, it felt like real.
Wow.
Before, it was more like, okay, you say that just because you don't want to deal with your situation. Like, I'm just trying to figure out how to get out of the situation.
Yeah.
Last year was like, okay, I having this feeling, but it's more I really just want to carry this out because I don't want to deal with nothing. And I think when I changed my mindset to realize that there are people around me, number one, that want to see me, they want to see me succeed.
Yeah.
They want to see me live. They want to see me do well. They
Yeah.
want to see me successful. And those people are there to hear what I'm going through. And when I finally was like, okay, let me get out of my own way and ask for help and
Yeah.
say, hey, who can I find to talk to? And a lot of times, I wouldn't say it doesn't always matter, but for the most part, like you just mentioned, bro, a lot of it is just I just need to tell somebody what the heck's
Yes.
going on.
Yeah.
I don't want you to give me an answer. You might not even have an answer, bro. You might not even know what I'm supposed to do or how I'm supposed to figure this out.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's more just, man, how can I just find somebody that is willing enough to like listen to me, willing enough to just be there, willing enough to just hear what I'm saying, and then take that and be able to help me move through that. And that's what I'm hearing for you was very key. You talking to your aunt, your uncle-in-law, just being able to sit down and say, hey, this is where I'm at mentally,
Yeah.
and I need help. One of the things that I think about, what do you think it was that got you to that point that made you reach out to them? What was it that you were just like, yo, I can't? 'Cause you said it was like 25 days, bro. That's a long time to,
A really little
you know?
time. Yeah. What it was, it's so crazy. So I don't even know if I got a new car, right?
Nah, I didn't know you got it.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
So the reason why
Maserati,
I
baby?
finally,
Maserati?
no, not yet. The reason why I finally got a new car is someone stole my freaking catalytic converter off the bottom of my car.
Oh,
I
hey.
was, I was all the way to church. I stopped my car. And just this weird noise. I'm like, I knew automatically what it was. All right. So I couldn't drive my car. I needed a ride. So I reached out to my aunt and uncle, said, hey, can you guys give me a ride? This is what I got going on until my insurance come through and I get this taken care of. So we were talking, I was with them and I was still like kind of in my reclusive stage, but being around them is regular conversation. They didn't know I had something going on. So then I think it was either the next day, that was Sunday, the next Monday or Tuesday, whatever day it was. I reached out, hey, can I come over? Can we come over and talk? Yeah, yeah, sure, no problem. 6 hours, bro. I was just like letting my whole soul out. When I was two, I fell off the bed and I was giving them everything. And they were just saying how receptive they were and how much they care. You can just talking to them, you can see the amount of love and care they have for me in their face. And they were just like, I had no idea. No, that's not the case at all. Just reassuring me everything that negative I had to say, they reminded me that no, that's not even true. You have a history. Your history says that you're not lazy. You're one of the hardest workers I know. What do you mean you feel dumb? What? Just the way you're speaking, the way you articulate, know that you're not dumb. So I'm like, man, maybe I'm not. It takes it takes family, it takes someone to let you remind you, hey, don't listen to that drunken monkey. That's not reality. And that's when I knew, okay, wait a minute. If I felt so strongly about this and I thought that this was my reality, there's something not right. Something's off. So that's why now when I can recognize it, I can see the beginning stages of it. And sometimes I can catch it. And I'll be honest, sometimes I can't stop it. But I know to look for it. And I know I probably need to reach out to someone before it gets too bad.
So would you say that based on experiencing that and like what you've gone through, that reaching out probably the most important, like probably one of the most important things that kind of helped you out? Would you say that was really pivotal for you?
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Reaching out to anybody, even when you were talking about what you were going through and the feelings of suicide, I didn't have those feelings. Man, listen, be honest, I was like, man, I was like so out of control of myself. I could not control my emotions and every thought was like so absolute. It was one day I was so frustrated. I was like, man, I should go start a fight with somebody. Go start a fight. I don't want to hurt myself. I want to hurt somebody else. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's really crazy. That's
You should
really
come to
dumb.
jujitsu class with me,
It
bro.
works out, but it's just like it was literally like that, man. And I'm like, okay, let me go talking to someone. First of all, it holds you accountable. It holds you accountable for your actions. It makes you like, okay, they know what I got going on, and they're gonna, hey, Todd, just checking in on you, man. You doing okay? Oh man, yeah, I am feeling okay. Or no, actually I'm not. So it gives you accountability, especially when you start getting those suicidal thoughts. Somebody knows that you're not okay and they need to be checking in on you. Or if you haven't heard from me in a while, reach out. So that's definitely a big part. And then the second part of reaching out, it helps you verbalize what you got going on and you hear yourself saying it. Sometimes wait a minute, that's not right. Or hold on. So it gives you a chance to actually hear what you're saying and what you're thinking. And it's not, that's not right. And then you get the third thing is you get the counsel of an outside person, third party person who's they're not in your head. They're seeing you from a different angle. You get a different vantage point of yourself. Okay, so I'm not crazy. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. That is good, bro. Dang, that's good. That's really good. So do you feel like, all right, with that, because I had questions to ask, but I think
Yeah.
you really, well, the way that you just explained kind of your own story, I was just like, all right, that's exactly what I was like thinking in my head. Like I
Yeah.
was like, all right, if we're going through that.
Yeah.
So now at this point, do you feel that the awareness, because I think one of the things that we talk about with one of the things I think, and this is just me personally, and I've been learning about PTSD, learning about how it affects us, learning about the anxiety part of it, learning how it impacts us. Do you think that you being aware of those things, of being able to reach out, the benefits to reaching out, catching yourself when you start getting in those modes, since that has happened and you've learned that, do you feel that's helped you to process a lot of your own emotions before they get too hyped up? Because I think that's what the thing is, right? Like a lot of times with guys, we'll have something happen, it'll bother us. We'll be like, okay, I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing. And then finally, it's boom, it just blows up. You know what I mean? Do you think that process that you recognize with reaching out to other people and sharing those thoughts and feelings, do you think that's helped you not escalate that high, go down that road?
For sure. So it's stopping an out of control train, or a train that's running out of control, like on the track, a locomotive. It's easy to stop in the beginning because it's got low momentum. But the longer it starts to gain momentum, the faster it's going, the harder it is to stop it. And it's the sooner you can get to and get in front of it, the easier it is to stop it. Once it's got full head of steam, good luck stopping that thing. So that's true. In my opinion, it's true with my situation. The sooner I could get in front of it, the more in control I could be of it and likely to deal with it versus me sitting in it, stewing in it 5 days into it. And I got this whole almost alternate reality going on because I created this whole situation in my head. And now it's this whole new reality going on. And if I would have gotten in front of it a few days earlier or talked to somebody, I could have helped me rationalize things. Things aren't actually that bad. There is a way out. There is, so I can be up here and be talked down to here and then actually be able to manage things.
Right. Now that makes a lot of sense. And I think that's one of the main things that I definitely learned a lot just over these recent years, man, is how important it is really to find people that you can share some of that with. A lot I feel like for and this is just me, for men, I think a lot of times, yes, we want the solution, we want an answer, but we really want a space where we can share what we're struggling with and not be judged about it.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
could tell me, you can share with me that experience that you just had and how it impacted you and how it impacted you mentally and how like you were it affected you. But as a brother, as another man, I shouldn't look at you and be like, bro, just get over that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like, no, because
exactly.
that doesn't.
Exactly.
But here's my thing. Here's the key thing though. Here's the key thing that I think about is when I hear your whole story, and I hear, okay, you started EMT at 16, you've seen crazy things, you went through 9/11, you're in the war, you come back home. When I hear that whole entire story, I'm like, okay, it makes sense that you would logically seeing those things and not being able to learn how to understand how to process it and work through those things. It makes I'm not saying that it's like a thing where it's, oh, it's okay,
Yeah.
but it's like one of
Right.
those things where I'm
Right.
just like, okay, logically, when I hear your story, I'm like, okay, bro, I can understand like where you're coming from and where that struggle is really coming from. And I think that's really important, man. I appreciate you sharing that, bro. Because a lot of times, man, a lot of times, bro, as guys, we're just like, ah, and that's what really got me really like my wheels churning. Like I mentioned to you when I was talking the other day, I was like
Yeah.
on a whole nother direction, and I was like, nah, but there's all this stuff going on, but guys don't want to talk about that. And then
Yep.
the groups that I would get into where guys were talking about it would be like we would get together and it would be like I'm clowning you. So everything
Oh,
is like a
really?
joke. Not
Wow.
like in a not like in a serious way, because you know
Yeah.
how like guys joke. We
Yeah.
joke, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just be like, ah, like come
Right.
on, and we're talking, we're clowning each other. Nah, bro, I'm like hurting on some
Yeah.
stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Right.
not the same. It's not the same.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
I need somebody that's gonna be like, bro, I get what you're saying, man. How do we work through this? I'll
Yeah.
just listen, help how I can. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Sure.
Wow. As we landed, man, we this has been a great man. I really have enjoyed this conversation, man. It's opened my eyes to a lot of things.
Thanks.
I think one of the things I would think about and I would ask you is, so if you were talking to other guys, you're talking to other guys, and my focus now is has been on our mental well-being, just because I see the impact that it has. This is not just a me thing. This is my family thing, my
Mhm.
generation thing,
Yeah.
my legacy
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
What kind of advice what kind of advice or what kind of suggestions or kind of encouragement would you give guys? I know we talked about reaching out to other people, which is important, but really thinking about it, man, what would you tell some guys that find themselves in that situation where they're like, man, I'm going through it. I really don't know how to figure this out. What do I do when I want to close up in my shell and like recluse in my shell? What kind of advice would you give some guys that maybe finding themselves struggling with those type of situations, man?
Definitely, man. I would say that you're not alone because one of the things that I go through is, man, I bet you Nick's not handling it like this. I bet you my brother, I bet you so and so is not, they would be able to handle this. You're not less than. There's other people going through something similar or if not the same thing. There, you can talk about it. When you said, like you said earlier about the guys making jokes, man, when you get like this, you're completely naked. And for someone to say hi or make a joke about it, no, man, my insecurities are on full display. So, you know, you really have to, I understand the fear of that. And you have to take a chance and reach out to someone that you trust to see your insecurities, to see your vulnerabilities, and definitely talk about it and seek someone advised. I'm in church, I teach a middle schools to high schoolers, and one of the kids, a young man, just graduated high school. He said he's dealing with some anxiety, and he said he can't even go talk to his parents about it. He don't feel like he can talk to his parents. So I'm in the process of trying to reach out to him, man. Talk to me. If you can't talk to your parents, talk to me. And that's the biggest thing I want to drive home to him and to anyone else. Find someone you can talk to, someone who can give you some real counsel, some real wisdom, and not going to put you down or laugh at you or push it off. Because I know that feeling is an awful feeling. But man, definitely find someone that you can talk to and help you through it.
I feel it. My bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I definitely think that's good. So if and I'm just throwing this out there,
Yeah.
not to put you on the spot totally, but if guys are watching this and they see your story and they hear what you've gone through, is it okay for them to reach out to you and
Hey,
say, "Hey, how can I, Ty, can I talk to you?" You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
please do. Please
yeah,
do.
gotcha.
I think I have a friend in Fayetteville who is huge in the military community. He does a lot of the suicides awareness, the 22 man 22
Yeah,
veteran,
that's
22
my joint.
veterans a
I
day.
love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah.
22 veterans a day kill themselves. They succumb to suicide. And he's big in that community. He does a lot of memorials and things like that. Enrique Murillo down in Fayetteville, North Carolina. If you're in that area, look him up. But I think that's going to be part of my life's ministry, my life's work, helping people who have situations similar to mine, PTSD, depression, anxiety, because I don't believe in learning something and keeping it to myself. I want to help as many people as I can because I know what it's like to feel alone. I know what it's like to be afraid and don't not able to share with people or to feel judged or be vulnerable. So I'm someone, I don't mean judge free. I don't care what the situation is, what the thing that you're battling with. It's nothing too risque or too off limits to talk about, man. Hit me up and you get a safe judge free zone to talk about whatever you want. And I'll give Nick my information to put up there. Reach out to me any way possible, email, text, phone call, and man, you're safe with me.
Gotcha, gotcha. And then how would people get in touch with you? I know you don't want to put all your phone numbers and out there, but can we reach you like on like social media
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that where
And I'll
guys
put my
reach out
phone
to you?
number. I'll put my phone number, email, social media, all that stuff up there. My
Oh
name
yeah,
is.
you're a real estate agent,
Hey, look,
huh?
yeah, I'm real estate agent. I'm shameless plugs all day long. But,
Gotcha, gotcha. All right,
but yeah,
I'll
man.
make sure
So
I definitely put that out.
yeah, my social media. My name is Tyrene Tyrene Reed Red. Tyrene Reed on social media on Facebook, on Instagram. You can reach out to me anyway. Reed@gmail.com, or you can hit me up at 757-528-8958. Again, that's 757-528-8958. And I'm no by any means am I a counselor or a therapist or anything like that. I'm just a shoulder and an ear, man. So anybody, you need it, hit me up.
That's good, man. I appreciate that definitely. And I'll put whatever whenever we put everything out, I'll put some of that info in there and run
Yeah,
by you, make sure that's cool.
yeah,
But I think that's good, man. I think that I've especially the last couple of years, I don't believe in coincidences.
yeah,
I don't believe in the fact that we go through different things and we experience different things that connect us together with other people for a specific purpose.
yeah,
And when I listen to your story, bro, from 16 years old, and I know Jersey City, bro.
yeah,
I've been through Jersey. Jersey City ain't no, you ain't this ain't no suburbs.
sure.
Seeing those things and experiencing those things at such a young age, going through all those different things, man, being able to just share some of your struggles, some of the things that you've gone through, I think will help a lot of men out. And that's really my heart right now is when I went through a lot of things, I was like, dang, I can't be the only brother going through this and
Right.
trying to fake like I'm doing all right. Like I'm all everything is good.
Uh-huh.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh God, yeah. I'm really like, so I'm like, bro, I know a lot of other brothers gotta be probably feeling the same. So I definitely appreciate it, bro. Anything else that you could probably think about? Anything else you may want to say or relay towards anybody or that you have on your mind?
And I'll just close with this. You're not alone. There's other people out there like myself, like Nick, who are in similar situations, who struggle, who don't have it all together. And you owe it to yourself to get help. You owe it to yourself to reach out to someone. You might think that you're a burden on people. Be a burden. Hey,
Yeah,
burden me if you need to. It's all good. But definitely don't suffer alone. There's people out there, man, that care about you and want to see you do good.
for sure, man. I like that. You're not a burden to anybody. That
For
is
real.
definitely good, man. Good.
For
Ty, bro. Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time together.
real.
Man, I appreciate you just being honest, man, just sharing a lot of that story, man. I knew, like I said, when I was driving down the street, I was like, man, who can I? And I was like, you know what? And that you were the first person that came to my head. And I was like, all right. I've
Yeah,
been in this mode. I've been in this season now where if God is like, hey, go this way, I'm like,
do it.
all right, let's just do
That's
it,
it.
right?
That's
So
it. Yeah.
and initially, I thought that this was only going to be like a 20-minute, 30-minute. We're about an hour and 20 minutes into it. And I'm like, damn, the brother telling me a whole bunch. We about to write a book, bro.
Yeah,
Write a book
yeah.
on this. So, but man, I really appreciate that, bro. And I
Oh,
think
man,
that it's going to help out a lot of guys, man. And just hearing that story, bro, and just being able to reach out and just even piggybacking off of what you said, I know how we can get into our own little reclusive. Man, I'm always here, bro. If you need to hit
man,
me up, need
definitely.
to. I know a lot of time I'm the same way. I'd be like, nah, he all right. He in the gym. You know what I mean? But
For sure.
I've recently learned now I got to reach out to brothers, man. I got to be
Yeah,
because we got a
yeah,
lot to give to this community. We got a lot to give to this world. I think.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Your think about it. Your experience that you've gone through, EMT, being in war, being in the military, experiencing that and experiencing and going through those different emotions, man, are definitely meant to help somebody else.
Mm.
I definitely appreciate it, man. Much love to you, bro.